Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the New York State Bridge Authority meeting. It's November 21st, at a couple minutes after 3. We're at a monthly meeting. And before we start our monthly meeting, we're going to introduce who's around the table. Commissioner Rod Gressel, to my left, Commissioner Diane Gromblowski, Commissioner Roger Higgins, Commissioner Harry Stanton, Council Carl Whitback, and our acting executive director, Tara Sullivan, and myself, Richard Gerantine, as chairman. And around the room, we have our distinguished department heads that make the bridge run very efficiently. Saying all that, we have the minutes of October 17th minutes. Meeting. So move. Second.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next, we have Mr. Wright. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Very good. And yourself?
Good, thank you.
First up, everyone has a copy of the project labor agreement, which was cooperatively drafted by the Hudson Valley Building and Construction Trades Council, NYSBA, and Carl Whitback. Work rules within this agreement shall apply to the contract for the replacement of the bridge deck on the north span of our Newburgh Beacon Bridge. Throughout the document, there's, as part of the negotiations, we have a potential for savings of excess of $1.8 million. That's based on overtime savings, shift differential, holiday schedules, and apprentice ratios are the main reasons for that savings.
Any discussion? First move it, please.
So
Second.
Second.
Discussion? No discussion? What's the actual cost of this, Jeff, to do this report?
The cost to do the report?
Yeah.
I don't know, I'd have to look and see. We had a consultant, Erase, that did the initial due diligence study,
Mm-hmm.
and then the actual PLA agreement was done up by the Construction Trades Council. So that was one cost.
When you saw the report at your September meeting.
All right. Well, I think it was under 20,000, 19,000.
Yeah.
right?
Good.
Mhm. Any other questions? If not, roll call, please. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next, system-wide bridges, highway repair, standby readiness.
Standby readiness contract. In 2015, the authority advertised for a contractor to provide 24-hour standby service. Hudson Valley Bridge Construction was the low bidder, awarded the contract for a 3-year term with the option of extending the service for a period of 2 additional 1-year terms. The board previously exercised the first 1-year term option for this past year, and we'd now like to extend the contract for the second optional year through the 2020 season. Hudson Valley has been very responsive, especially for doing pothole repairs at the Newburgh Beacon Bridge, as well as other work at our other facilities.
So
Second, please.
Second.
Questions? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next.
Kingston Rhinecliff plow pattern truck procurement. We looked into getting a multi-service truck, one that could perform plow duties as well as maintenance operations functions, and having a attenuator on the back of the truck. So this truck will perform many functions for us. It will also be used for setting cones and patterns. So there's cages off the side of the truck that the guys stand in to be able to set cones when we do a traffic pattern. And that'll be particularly important at the Kingston Bridge now that we've got limited space up there with the walkway. So this will replace a truck that's got over 4,500 miles on it. It's a 1998 International. The total cost is $242,937.33. And you can see the background. It comes with a new plow, the attenuator, the cone setting pockets, and it'll be a truck well worth its value.
Commissioner?
Jeff meant to say
I know.
4,571 hours, not miles.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
It is quite the truck.
Somebody remove it?
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Any questions? If not, all in favor say aye. Next.
Newburgh Beacon Bridge North Span design change order. Currently, Greenman Peterson is doing the design for the redecking project that was approved in the October 2018 board meeting. As we're moving forward with potentially including cashless tolling and looking into solar panels, we'd like to have Greenman Peterson add to their design work the inclusion of what it would take to do the all electronic tolling at Newburgh, because we feel that one contractor working in the area for both the deck and the AET would be better than having two potential conflicting operations going on at the same time. So we'd like to have GPI do the additional work, which they will include MBE goals of 30% and SDVOB goals of 6%, for a not to exceed cost of $596,100.
Move. Second.
Second.
Questions?
I just want to emphasize again, if I have in past meetings, I want to be extremely cautious about any changes to the structure of this 1963 bridge. And we really need to think out solar panels long before we commit to anything on the bridge.
Well, and for sure,
I
you know,
understand you've
not only is GPI doing the design and doing their own checking, but we also have Majeski Masters involved doing the peer review. So it'll be double checked to really make sure that we're
And
okay.
I just want to keep reinforcing
Yep,
that,
that's fine.
and for the record, that we are all conscious of this issue.
And M&M, as you know, they designed the original bridge, so they've got a lot of history and know that bridge like the back of their
Designed an
hand. So
original
it'll be-
two-lane-
it'll be great. Yep.
Original two-lane bridge,
Right.
we've made it a three-lane bridge.
Yep.
Want to make it
Please note that's Commissioner Stanton's concern, as well as everybody else on the board.
I think it's shared by everybody, I just want to do it for the record.
Yeah, I agree.
All in favor?
Make good parachute.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next.
Is a 2020 Class 5 four-wheel drive cab and chassis with dump body. We advertised and bid this truck for the Newburgh Beacon Bridge. It'll be used to haul some of our larger trailer-mounted equipment, such as the pothole killer and rapid set concrete trailer. It'll replace a truck that has over 90,000 miles on it and over 11,000 hours. 9 vendors requested proposal packages. We received 5 bids. The apparent low bidder was Sawyer Motors of Saugerties at a price of $55,699.
Move it, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Questions? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next, jobs in progress.
Jobs in progress, the only jobs to report here at the Newburgh Beacon Bridge, the I-84 9W project, as most of you have seen, we had a press release, the job's complete, came in on time and under budget. And then also the South Span sidewalk repair job continues. That'll go through into next year also.
Move it, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Questions? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you,
Thank you very
Jeff.
much.
Next, Brian, financials, monthly investment report.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Good, thanks, yourself.
Good.
Okay, first item up is the monthly investment report. There are 9 investments, all of a routine nature. They're reflected in the investment inventory report. Currently, the maintenance reserve fund sits at a balance of $53 million. Interest income and yield on the subsequent page rose to 2.18%. Nothing unusual tonight.
Move to accept the investment report.
Second.
Questions? If not, all in favor, say aye. Next,
Next up is the annual billing from the New York State Employees Retirement System for the year ending March 31st, 2020. The payment required utilizing the prepaid value is $1.4 million for the authority's 163 employees currently in the system. This is a decrease of $20,195 over prior year, or 1.4%. There's an analysis included in the package that goes and analyzes the current year's payment versus the prior year's.
So moved.
second,
Second.
questions?
I think it's traditional for me to abstain on this one solely because I am an employee covered by this, or I was an employee, now retired and covered by this program, so.
It was reduced by that amount mainly because of the increase in investments and so forth.
Generally, when the investments in the portfolio supporting the retirement system do well, the balance that we have to pay each year goes down. The stock market has been doing relatively well the last few years. If you remember, years ago, shortly after the 2008 timeframe, because losses were amortized over about 5 years, we saw several years subsequent to that event of very high payments. We're fortunate it's fairly low.
This varies great. I can remember there were many years when we made no payments to it whatsoever, because,
Things
and
didn't
things
go
change.
so much like
That's
that.
exactly right.
And at the same time, whether the market is doing good or bad, it's always helpful to put a little bit in for. I believe they changed the law, so now there's a minimum
You're
payment.
thinking like
Oh, is that right?
You're thinking like.
Or legacy.
Maybe for something. Okay,
Move it, please. Oh, we did, we
No,
vote?
well, we had second, I just need a.
No, we need to vote on it. You voted on it?
I'm sorry, you moved it. You need to vote on it.
Thank you.
You said, you asked about moved it.
We seconded it, correct?
Yes.
We thirded? No. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Yep, I got mine.
okay, the next item up, I apologize, I had a slight typo mistake. If you look in the original version that I gave you, pass those down. On the resolution, I indicated the contract number was BA 209, it's really BA 201 now, or 2019. So,
about that, I just didn't want to say it.
okay, sorry about that. Thanks for not saying anything. No, essentially, the authority has identified the modernization of its tolling systems as a traffic management element of the deck replacement project at Newburgh. To modernize the systems rapidly in support of the construction project, the authority sought a consultant with expertise with familiarity to the processes surrounding the New York EasyPass Customer Service Center, which the authority currently utilizes for EasyPass. With limited availability due to larger projects within the region, the authority was fortunate to locate a consultant with specific background in these types of systems and has identified this consultant in the proposed single source contract. To allow the authority to contract with the consultant on an as-needed basis, we're asking the board to consider a contract in the amount of $175,000 on a single source basis.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Last?
Okay, last up is the Q3 2019 quarterly operations report. Basically, a couple things to note. While volume is up 0.97%, revenue is not up nearly as much. This is a reflection of the authority's continued slight reductions in commercial traffic while continuing to improve in passenger EasyPass. Overall operating expenses are up 1.98% as a result of the net of several differences as noted in the document, and the authority's capital improvement expenses are down 21, almost 22% from prior year. Year to date, we've spent $11.5 million of the projected $25.3 million. No action is required by the board. This report is only for information purposes.
Any questions, for Brian? If not, thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
No information technology, no bridge operations. Tara?
Thank you,
Director?
Chairman. I have submitted the monthly activity report, and there is nothing to report. Second, I have the 2 reports submitted to me by Dan Cassis, our Manager of Administrative Services. The first is the October 2019 traffic and revenue analysis with the cash and easy pass comparison. The main gist of this lengthy report is that the New York State Bridge Authority's revenues are above last year's receipts with an increase of 0.36%. 4 out of the 5 bridges have seen an increase in revenue in 2019, and that's everybody except the Newburgh Beacon Bridge. The second report I have to submit is the October 2019 Easy Pass sales analysis. This is showing a year-to-date tag sales decrease of 5.1%. This is the 7th full year of the authority selling tags, and we've sold over 60,000 tags to date. The final report I have for your consideration is the Historic Bridges of the Hudson Valley Monthly Report. I'd like to begin by pointing out all of the Newburgh Beacon Bridge interpretive historic signs that are being manufactured right now. One of the things that Kathy Burke does for us is she carefully writes, edits these things until they're finally manufactured. Newburgh Beacon Bridge will be the final bridge to have historic interpretive signs made and installed, completing that giant project that we started 3 years ago to manufacture, manufacture these historic signs for the people of the Hudson Valley. I put these two up front because they're the most interesting to me, and they go over the history of constructing both the north span and south span. We have other signs in the back of the room. This is 4 out of 7 signs, and they're just going to production. We hope to have them in a couple of months. Invaluable service that we get from Kathy Burke, really. The highlights in her report include all of her bank accounts, both the savings account and checking account, and she has just added another $2,000 grant received from the Hudson River Greenway, and she also wanted me to share with you that she had many of her STEM, that science, technology, engineering, and math program curriculum support classes conducted for high schools and middle schools. And finally, she wanted me to mention that she really enjoyed doing that event at
She spoke at the Henry Yacht Club last week, and we had just under 50 people. It was extremely well received, and obviously well presented by Kathy. She's a great ambassador for the Bridge Authority. Great job.
Thank you, Commissioner. That's all I have.
Thank you. Roger, thank you for being present there to represent.
Oh, you directed me to introduce you, so I.
Well, that's why we wanted you, you know, you have to get compensated, when you get compensated, you have to do
I'll
something.
put in for mileage.
Okay.
Does he walk there?
All right, so we have a presentation to the board on the bridge inspections. Jeff, I take it you're gonna do that, correct?
Yeah,
Not Teresa?
she can do it.
We've counted and there are still 6, right? 7. We're all still there.
So what I'd like to do is go through each bridge. We'll highlight projects that we completed this past year, and then also what was found during the annual inspections that we do. So we'll start at the north and work our way south. So the Rip Van Winkle Bridge here. Maybe not. Nope. Okay, here we go. All right, so we started with the Skywalk project. This was a big project connecting Olana with the Olana being over on the east side of the bridge to the Thomas Cole House in Catskill. DOT installed this roundabout in record time in one season. And then we also had a pathway that goes all the way from across the bridge with our new sidewalk up to Olana, and it then connects to the Thomas Cole House over here in Catskill. So that was a big project that Greene County was really the head of that. And we will maintain the sidewalk during the summer months.
You know the rip hedges that are up there as you're approaching? We should light those with LED lights for that. They look pretty cool.
We'll talk to Greg.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
Another big project we did was replacing the link bearing at the west end of the bridge. This holds up the through truss. There's a steel that is normally there right now during construction. It was taken out. The pins here were replaced. And here's the new configuration here with the new pins, new steel work. We had diaphragms in there that had cracks in them. There was some wear on the pins, so we replaced both links, one on the south truss here, and there's another one on the similar one on the north truss. Both got replaced. And
He
then,
says it holds up, it holds it down too.
yeah, that's right. It serves both purposes. So then once we did that, over the years, this is the joint right above those bearings. Over the years, we had put in shim plates and whatnot so the plows wouldn't hit it because the joint had settled an inch to an inch and a half down on one side or the other. So as part of the project, we redid the joint right above those, and now everything's back to the way it should be. We also completed the sidewalk project on the bridge. This was part of the Skywalk project. We put new precast panels on the sidewalk. And then projects coming up that came out of the inspection report. These are photos from the inspection report. We'll be working on pier repairs to system-wide on all of our piers, where we will, be recaulking the joint between the granite blocks and the concrete wash area on the piers, and performing any pier repairs that need to be done. We're hoping that should happen in 2020. And also at the RIP, it was noted that there's crevice corrosion in pin areas. Here, these are areas that our maintenance guys will be able to clean and provide some paint inhibitor at, and then caulk the interface there to try to keep the moisture out. Here's a view inside the bottom cord at RIP. This here is an interior diaphragm, so the cord is actually twice the height of this. This plate here is halfway through, providing really a tough area for maintenance to be able to get in, clean and paint this area. So what we did as part of the link project, we added in cutting some holes in this plate here, which will allow access for us to get up and blast off some of the rust there, and get a better chance to clean and paint that area, and also to get the debris to get out of that area.
Jeff, all these jobs we do in-house?
These ones I'm talking about here, there'll be some that we'll have to contract out for too.
When you say diaphragm, is that a type of fabric then?
No, diaphragm meaning the member itself. So that horizontal member there is called a diaphragm. It keeps things between, extended out between themselves. Here during the inspection, the inspectors found that there were some bolts missing for the hold downs for the stringers here, actually within a day or two, the maintenance guys went out and replaced the missing bolts there. Here we have a pin in one of the false cords on the top cord that had the retainer plate had fallen off, and the pin became dislodged. A false cord is a member that doesn't carry any structural load. It's with the truss, at certain area of the truss, there's just no load that goes through this horizontal member. So this, we were able to jack this up and put the pin back in and put a new retainer plate on so that it's now all back into place. Here there's some crevice corrosion here at one of the one of the hangers for the top and bottom cord plate here. Once again, maintenance will come in here, clean this area, beat out as much of the crevice corrosion as they can. We'll squirt in some rust inhibitor, and then we'll caulk that area and try to keep the moisture from getting in. Along the fascia of the deck, there's been some spalling with exposed rebar. The rebar will get painted. Our biggest concern is falling concrete and falling hazard. So whenever we get wind of any loose concrete that's up here, we'll use our UBIU machine or lift trucks if we can to get up there and actually hit the loose concrete and make sure that it comes down in the bucket rather than on land. And as always, the inspectors are always looking to find any cracks that occur in our street lighting fixtures. When we get cracks in the main bar connecting to the post of the light pole, we'll replace those when they occur with a whole new unit. Down at the Kingston-Rhinecliff Bridge, the Empire State Trail was our big project this year. This is the west approach to the bridge. You can see the new trail goes along here. We kept it off the road, away from traffic. That will be just for pedestrians. Bicyclists will still use the existing shoulder for their travel. And on the bridge, you can see the new section on the bridge here. The trail is over here, 4 foot wide. We've got the 2 foot barrier. Each joint of the barrier is stiffened with a box beam section. That's to keep any cars or trucks that hit the barrier from the barrier moving and deflecting as far. So it acts more as one unit, with the extra stiffening. And then you can see we ground in rumble strips on the white line, on the center line, on the other white line, so that it will alert cars if they start veering off course, because bicyclists are still traveling on the shoulder here, and that's to help protect them, so the motorists will wake up if they're texting or dozing or whatever, to try to keep them in the travel lane. So as you can see, we went from a 40-foot wide curb to curb to a 36 wide travel curb to curb with 2 11-foot lanes and 2 6-foot shoulders. This is a picture from the inspection report showing how nicely the maintenance guys have done in terms of cleaning up the bottom cord and painting it this past season down there. And we resealed this joint here. There's some other joints that are going to be part of a overlay project coming up where we're going to we hope to replace the overlay in 2020. Here, the Bridge Authority, again, had maintenance guys have replaced these hold-down bolts that were noticed during the inspection. You can see the inspectors in their write-up here said that the authority maintenance personnel replaced them with new high-strength bolts on the next day. So we're very responsive to anything that's found during the inspections and try to get things fixed as soon as possible.
By the way, that's what steel's supposed to look like.
Yep. And here, there was a navigation light that was not functioning when the inspectors were there. Again, that's something that's a big concern, so our guys replaced the bulb the same day. Here, there's some, on various members of the concrete piers, there's some hollow areas, there's some cracking, spalling. Again, we're going to have a repair contract in 2020, hopefully, that will be able to repair the miscellaneous piers at system-wide bridges, really. Again, this will be a maintenance concern. There was a crack found in this particular floor beam. What maintenance will do will be to drill a hole here, and that will relieve the stress so that that crack won't extend any further. Similar condition here. Right angle cuts are not optimal. It's good to have a rounded edge so that you don't have stress concentrations in a corner. Maintenance will go out there and round that out so that it's not a concern in the future. Things that we've been monitoring at Kingston are tack welds. These tack welds were used during construction to hold members together while they did riveting or while they did full penetration welding. Tack welds are a concern if they're over 2 inches long and they do develop too much stress. They could cause cracking to occur in the primary member. So most of the tack welds that were over 2 inches have been ground off in prior contracts throughout our bridges. We still monitor all the other tack welds just to make sure that we don't have any other issues. Here, this is a joint that'll get repaired in the overlay and joint repair contract that should be in 2020. Again, due to the joint leaking, you get rust happening underneath at the expansion area. Things like this will be repaired. The joint being repaired in 2020 with a painting contract scheduled for 2024. And if we have more dire areas that really need to be painted, our maintenance guys do spot painting in the areas that are more critical. Here again, there's some crevice corrosion that happens at various members where they're riveted together. Again, the paint contract is scheduled for 2020, and hopefully that will happen at that time. Here, just another thing that was mentioned in the report is just some monitoring of some potential spalling that could occur at this particular pier. And future monitoring, so that, since this was a biennial inspection, 1 year, the next inspection's a maintenance year, and that's why we have the maintenance inspections, to do the monitoring that's noted to be done. Here at Pier 7, we've got some bearings that actually are leaning the opposite way they should be, depending on the way the temperature is right now. So we've been keeping an eye on these bearings for several years. At some point in time, we'll have a steel repair contract where we'll jack up the steel girders here and reset the bearings. Over at the Mid-Hudson Bridge.
Is that because the pier has moved, or?
Yeah, it's probably not, because those bearings are both going the wrong way, so they had to have been set incorrect probably from the beginning. Over at the Mid-Hudson Bridge this year, we found the inspectors found some cracks that were happening at the stringer locations at the towers. There was a full-length 24-inch crack up top here and several smaller cracks down below. When we heard that, we got right to work. We had M&M design us a repair plate, had our emergency contractor install the plate, and the work is repaired now. But we will be redoing this work during the, hopefully, we are scheduled to do a $10 million curb and railing repair project at the Mid-Hudson Bridge coming up this next year. So that extra work will be part of that project. Here at Mid-Hudson also there was some paint deterioration on the main cable. This is work that maintenance will do. They'll get rid of the loose paint chips and repaint spot paint the areas. Another concern at Mid-Hudson, these anchor bolts here are what's holding down the railing on the Mid-Hudson Bridge. That's going to be part of the project that's coming up in 2020 to replace those anchor bolts. We've had them shearing off. The detail is being redesigned right now by Majeski Masters, and we'll be replacing those bolts all the way across the bridge. Here there's some deterioration on the top flange of some of the cantilever brackets that help hold off the walkways on the Mid-Hudson Bridge. Here maintenance will probably be doing some temporary repairs to these areas. We'll be talking with M&M on angles that we can install to take care of this. It's fairly minor, but it's work that our guys can do. Here at Rinaldi Boulevard, over at the east joint, there's some concrete that's deteriorating under the joint. We also have some steel bearing areas that are corroding here. This is stuff that I've talked to Craig and our maintenance guys. They'll be doing the cleaning of all the painting here and getting these things back to better shape and getting them greased the way they ought to be. Over at the Newburgh Beacon Bridge North Span, this was our big project this year, the 9W overpass. You can see here the new concrete. This is the job all complete. We raised the bridge deck 2 feet. We repaved all the approaches going up to the bridge. That was our big job this year. Here's a few more pictures of that. And what we do best at Newburgh North is put up shoring. This is our emergency contractor installing some more shoring under the deck. They also did some steel repairs behind the steel parapet on the bridge. It's a tough area to get to in painting. You can't really get in there to clean the paint. So we took off some areas of it, and we replaced the worst members with some extra plates. But as part of the redecking job, we'll be doing more extensive steel repairs that are going to be required behind that steel parapet. Here's some more false cord pins at Newburgh. We did a retrofit. Rather than having the pin come through this slotted area here and rest in this area, we now support the false cord on the top of the gusset plate up here with this new metal work. So we don't have to worry about the pin being in place there. Another project we did this year was we lowered the catwalk and installed another cable tray, which allowed us to then move into the fiber optic phase of that project, which is just about done now, right, Chris? So that project was completed this past year also. Again, concrete repairs to some of the concrete piers at Mid-Hudson will be part of a system-wide pier contract, hopefully in 2020. And again, wash areas at the bridge here at Newburgh will be included also in that project. Here, just wanted to show, this is typical lubricant. What happens is the inspectors get out on these bridges around April or May. Depending on, we've got 3 contractors that do biennial inspection. We have 1 UB unit, so we schedule that UB unit with each contractor. We start early on one bridge, and as soon as the weather breaks. So what happens is our maintenance guys haven't gotten out there yet. They haven't gotten out there to wash off the bridges, to re-grease the pins. So we get some of this in the report where we got some old lubricant on there, and yeah, okay, we haven't gotten out there yet. So that was the case there. Here's some more section loss on some members. We repaired this as part of we added this repair to one of our contracts that we were working on. I think it might have been with the catwalk lowering there at Newburgh. And again, there's crevice corrosion that occurs. That's something that maintenance can help fight, where they'll beat the crevice corrosion out as much as possible, apply inhibitor, and then caulk the area to try to keep moisture from re-entering. Maintenance crews will take care of pipe railings for some of the railings down near the pier bases. Here was a 4-inch long crack. Again, we'll install an arrest hole at the end of the crack to relieve the stress. And we had a drain spout come disconnected that our maintenance guys will be able to hook back up. Here, this is a vertical plate. You can see this is the steel parapet right here. And this vertical for the truss is right behind that member. And this is some of the repairs that are going to be done as part of the redecking project. Here again, you can see how much shoring there is under the deck. And we've got some holes in the steel parapet. We'll have we're looking to have single slope concrete barrier replacing the steel parapet that's out there now.
Jeff, can you back up one?
Yeah.
I just have to emphasize to you how important it is. This tells you the whole story. How important it is to get the redecking going. Okay,
You can see when we started doing shoring out here years ago, we didn't use weathering wood. You know, we didn't think we were going to have it last for such a long time. We're starting to get some of the wood deteriorating already. You know.
the fact that you're using the term wood says everything.
Yeah.
It is essential that this thing move
Yeah.
forward on schedule.
I mean, what we do with the shoring is we try to anticipate where the potholes are going to be. So we put up shoring where we anticipate it to be. So when there is a pothole, all the wood is there for is to provide a base for the concrete so it won't just flow out, right? So, we'll remove the concrete from up above there, and then we've got a formwork already there. We can pour concrete the very same day that we notice the pothole.
This is evidence of good maintenance. The problem is,
Well,
beyond
it's maintenance that you don't,
it's beyond
you shouldn't have to
maintenance.
do.
That's exactly right.
What do you, sandblaster, the clean stuff on?
The wood?
In this rust?
Oh, here? No, this will just get, I'm sorry, this will just get replaced with the redecking project. It's not worth doing any more repair work to just isolated areas. Yeah. So here we are, just to, show you where all the repairs are on the deck. And then in the south span, again, we did false cord pin removal. Inspectors noticed that part of the bronze angle that we left in place was starting to crack. Potentially could have been a falling hazard. So the maintenance guys then shortly came up and removed that piece of bronze angle so that it wouldn't fall into the roadway. Our maintenance guys have been doing miscellaneous repairs at various locations along the sidewalk area, the south span sidewalk. And they will handle doing all the repointing for the joints here in the piers within where they can reach on the boat, so within the high water level of the piers. Anything up at this level will be done by a contract. Again, our guys can handle minor repairs to railings. And here's some corrosion on the girder bearings. This is all the weathering steel bridge. That's not supposed to have to need painting, but we've got a major painting project that's scheduled a little ways down the road that we're looking to initially paint the whole structure at some point. Here's some more areas under stringer relief joints. We waited till the contract was done, the redecking contract. Now we'll get back here. Our maintenance guys will be able to clean and paint all the stringer relief joints. They've been removed from operating anymore as part of the deck replacement project there on the south span. So we'll come back in. And clean and paint this area, and then it'll be back to where it ought to be. Again, some of the areas on the gusset plates that have a little more corrosion than they should be, our maintenance guys will do spot painting But then we've got, here you can see the paint contract is scheduled for 2027 to paint the entire structure. This was some corrosion on one of the sway bracings at panel point 0 or 1 on the south span. This has all been replaced. We had our sidewalk repair contractor do a repair in this area to replace the steel that are the holes here. Our maintenance guys replaced the hand rope that went across that area. Here are some broken bolts that our maintenance guys will repair, and some typical minor spalling that's occurring on some of the concrete piers that'll be part of the 2020 project. Here again, some bird debris that was noticed prior to washing off the bridge in the springtime. Here's a little more abnormal corrosion in some of the areas where the lateral bracing is connecting in with the stringers. Again, our guys are going to take care of spot painting the worst areas with the painting project scheduled for 2027. Here's a 15-inch long, half-inch high hole in the bottom of one of the webs of stringers 4 and 5. M&M's looking at a repair, which our maintenance guys will install. It'll probably entail something like an angle and maybe some additional plates. Some cracks coming off of a stiffener that our guys will drill holes for. Here you can see a typical crack arrest hole that's drilled at the end of a crack. We install a ferrule inside that provides compression to the steel. Cracks don't occur in steel where it's under compression. So what you do is you put the pressure on that circle so that the steel around it is in compression, and that crack won't extend any further. This is the contract right now that Piasecki has, repairing the sidewalk plates, excuse me, that people walk on, as well as the ribs that are deteriorated at various areas. Here you can see just a small deflection at one of the expansion joints. This will be taken care of by the contractor. We'll get rid of the rust here between these angles, and that plate will come down. Again, we've got some cracks in light poles that are already being replaced. And then at the Bear Mountain Bridge, here's some good lubricant. So we were able to get out there before the inspectors did, and they noticed the nice lubrication we've had out there. Here we are, starting at Bear Mountain. We got some spall areas under the deck. Again, this deck is scheduled for 2026. We will do shoring under there as required. And part of to make it to 2026, which we talked with M&M about, we're going to be doing an overlay project there next year to help keep things going there. We replaced the joint at panel point 0 this year, our maintenance guys. So there'll be some concrete repairs now that will be done there. We'll be doing some spot painting with a contract scheduled for 2029 as needed for the other areas. And here's some bottom cord gusset plate areas with some section loss. Here again, this particular area is one of the worst ones, so we've got M&M designing a repair, and we'll either our emergency contractor or our maintenance guys will install the appropriate material. This is in the southeast Anchorage, view of minor to moderate surface corrosion. What maintenance we'll be doing here will be to clean and either paint or grease this area. We do a lot of greasing in the Anchorage areas to keep the moisture from getting to the steel, and that will occur here very shortly. And the panel point zero, as mentioned, we redid the joint here this year. Maintenance will now clean and paint underneath the joint and make that back to normal. Minor spot painting on the north main cable. We've got suspenders there that have some broken wires. You can see here, a couple, 2 to 3 at the most at any suspender. We'll be monitoring those. The suspenders are scheduled for replacement in 2028. So it's coming up. That's a 100-year project that's on our schedule for replacing suspenders every 100 years. This is typical.
Think about that, that's a
spot painting.
100-year-old bridge.
Yep, 100 years. Gonna be.
Well, by then it'll be 104.
And then it will be 104. That's right.
So the typical spot painting that our maintenance guys will do. And that's it.
Jeff,
Good, Jeff.
what happens with the walkway?
Walkway.
Well, as far as inspections.
Well, that gets inspected every 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
So, vehicular traffic and.
Yeah, right. So it's on the 15 and zeros, 5 and 0 years that gets done. So that'll be actually coming up for inspection next year.
Do we have to pay for the inspection?
Yes, we
You see the report?
It's our bridge.
Yep.
Well, yeah, we own it.
Well, I'm sufficiently scared and shaking whatever. Guys, we need to get more, keep on schedule and we need more cash.
Any questions? Jeff, thank you very much, very informative. Saying that, any presentations to our old business, new business? We're gonna go into attorney-client privilege, we're gonna have a discussion coming out, no actions taken, so we'll adjourn the meeting. So adjourn second, our next meeting is December 19th, 2019, regular time at 3 p.m. Wish everybody happy Thanksgiving, enjoy. Thank you very much.
Be clear. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Jeff, how do you clean up rust on that spot?